Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at recurrent neural networks.
RNNs.
Yeah, RNNs. The things that make chatbots kind of sound like almost human.
Right.
And, they let your phone predict what you're going to type next.
hmm
But if you ever wondered how they actually work,
Yeah.
so get ready because we're going to unpack all that magic behind these AI tools.
It all begins with the idea of sequences, right?
Mhm.
Where like the order of information is
Yeah.
really important. So like think about reading a book.
Okay.
Each word builds on the ones that came before it.
Right.
And RNNs are designed to understand these kind of relationships in data,
Interesting.
which is what makes them so different from like traditional neural networks.
So it's not just about looking at each piece of data individually. It's
Yeah.
it's about understanding the whole story.
Exactly. RNNs have this uh, incredible ability to remember
Yeah.
previous information and use it to understand like the present.
Whoa.
So imagine a network that's reading a sentence.
Okay.
As it encounters each word, it's not just like analyzing that word by itself.
Right.
It's also considering all the words that came before it.
So it's got context.
Exactly. That's how it can grasp things like grammar and context,
Yeah.
which are essential for like truly understanding language.
Okay, that makes sense. But how do they actually remember all that information?
Right.
Do they have tiny little brains in there taking notes or?
Not quite brains, but
Yeah.
it's a fascinating concept.
Yeah.
RNNs use something called a hidden state
Okay.
to store information about like previous inputs.
Interesting.
Think of it like a vector,
Okay.
string of numbers
Okay.
that gets updated at each step in the sequence.
Gotcha.
It's not like literal memory in the human sense,
Right.
but it allows the network to like carry forward information from one step to the next,
Okay.
creating a kind of temporal context.
All right, so it's more like a running tally of what the network has seen so far,
Right.
constantly being updated as it goes. That's pretty cool. But I've also heard that RNNs have some limitations, right?
Yeah.
Something about vanishing gradients.
Yes, that's a key challenge.
Okay.
The vanishing gradient problem essentially means that the network's ability to learn from earlier parts of a sequence
Yeah.
can diminish as the sequence gets longer.
Hmm.
It's like trying to remember something that happened like a long time ago.
Yeah.
The details can get fuzzy,
Yeah.
and this can make it difficult for RNNs to handle very long sequences,
Right.
which is where LSTMs and GRUs come in.
Those are the upgraded versions of RNNs.
Yeah.
What makes them so special?
Think of LSTMs
Okay.
or long short-term memory networks
Okay.
and GRUs
All right.
or gated recurrent units as like specialized memory units
Okay.
within the network.
Gotcha.
They have these clever gates that can selectively control the flow of information.
Wait, hold on, gates.
Yeah,
That sounds almost biological.
it's a helpful analogy.
Okay.
Imagine these gates as filters that can determine what information is important to remember for the long term and what can be like safely forgotten.
Okay.
This allows LSTMs and GRUs to handle much longer sequences
Interesting.
and capture those crucial long-term dependencies
Right.
that basic RNNs can struggle with.
So they're like the super-powered memory champions of the
Ex-
RNN world.
Exactly. And thanks to these advancements,
Yeah.
RNNs are now being used in like an incredible variety of applications.
Cool.
But we'll delve into those in the next part of our deep dive.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so let's get into the real world stuff.
Yeah.
Where are these RNNs actually making a difference?
Yeah.
I mean, we hear about AI everywhere these days,
Right.
but I'm curious to see how RNNs are actually changing things.
Well, one area where they've had like a massive impact is natural language processing.
Okay.
Think about all the ways we interact with language on our devices,
Yeah.
from like texting and emailing
Hmm.
to searching the web.
Mm.
Using voice assistants, RNNs are like the engine behind many of these technologies.
So those predictive text suggestions that seem to know what I'm going to say before I even type it,
Uh-huh.
that's RNNs?
Exactly. By analyzing massive data sets of text,
Right.
RNNs have become incredibly good at predicting what words are likely to follow each other
Yeah.
in a given context.
Interesting.
And this same ability to like understand language
Okay.
is what allows them to power machine translation tools
Right.
that can instantly translate text from one language to another.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But what about those chatbots we were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
How do they fit into the picture?
Chatbots are like a perfect example
Okay.
of how RNNs can be used to create systems that can hold conversations with humans in a way that feels surprisingly natural.
Yeah.
By training on huge data sets of dialogues,
Right.
RNNs can learn to generate responses that are not only grammatically correct,
Yeah.
but also relevant to the ongoing conversation.
Yeah. I've definitely had some chatbot interactions where I'm like, wait a minute, am I actually talking to a human here?
That's the goal, right? To create systems that can interact with us in a seamless and intuitive way.
Right.
Of course, there's still a long way to go
Yeah.
before chatbots can truly replicate the nuances and complexities of human conversation,
Right.
but the progress is undeniable.
It's incredible to think about how this technology could change the way we communicate and access information in the future.
Hmm.
But let's move beyond language for a second.
Okay.
What other areas are being impacted by RNNs?
Well, speech recognition is another area where RNNs have made a significant difference.
Okay.
Think about the voice assistants we use on our phones and smart speakers.
Yeah.
These systems rely on RNNs to analyze the complex patterns in human speech and convert them into text.
It's amazing how accurate those systems have become.
Right.
I rarely have to correct them anymore.
That's because RNNs are incredibly good at recognizing the subtle variations in how we pronounce words, even when there's background noise or we're speaking quickly.
Right.
And this ability to accurately transcribe spoken language is what's opening up new possibilities in areas like dictation software,
Okay.
accessibility tools for people with disabilities, and even real-time language translation.
Wow. So RNNs are not just about understanding what we write, but also what we say.
Exactly.
That's really powerful. Are there other areas where this ability to analyze sequences is making a difference?
Absolutely. One area that might surprise you is music generation.
Okay.
RNNs are being used to create new melodies and harmonies
Interesting.
that sound remarkably similar to music composed by humans.
So you're telling me a computer could write a symphony?
Well, it's not quite that simple, but
Yeah.
RNNs can definitely be used to create music that is original and often quite beautiful.
Really?
They can learn the style and structure of different genres
Yeah.
and then generate new musical pieces that adhere to those conventions. Some people even believe that AI-generated music will eventually become its own genre, just like jazz or rock.
Wow. That's wild. But I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah.
Whether it's language, speech, or music, it seems like RNNs excel at anything that involves understanding and predicting sequences. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely. That's the core strength of RNNs.
Okay.
They're designed to analyze data where the order of information matters.
Right.
And this ability to understand sequences is what makes them so versatile
Yeah.
and applicable to such a wide range of fields.
Okay, so we've seen how RNNs are changing things in areas like language processing, speech recognition, and even music.
Yeah.
But we've also talked about some of the challenges they face, like the vanishing gradient problem.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other things we should be thinking about as this technology continues to evolve?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it leads us into the important topic of responsible AI development.
Okay.
As with any powerful technology, there are potential risks and ethical considerations we need to be aware of.
Right.
But we'll explore those in more detail in the final part of our deep dive.
All right, sounds good. Okay, so we've talked about all the amazing things that RNNs can do,
Right.
from powering our favorite apps to like pushing the boundaries of creativity.
Yeah.
But with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the potential risks and challenges that come with this technology.
You're absolutely right. As RNNs become more sophisticated and integrated into our lives, it's crucial to consider the ethical implications
Right.
and potential downsides.
Okay, so let's dive into that. What are some of the things we should be watching out for as RNNs continue to evolve?
One challenge lies in ensuring that RNNs are used responsibly and don't perpetuate harmful biases.
Okay.
Like many AI systems, RNNs learn from the data they're trained on.
Right.
If that data contains biases,
Mhm.
whether intentional or unintentional, the RNN can learn and amplify those biases
Gotcha.
in its outputs.
So like if an RNN is trained on a data set that reflects gender stereotypes,
Right.
for example, it might generate text that reinforces those stereotypes?
That's right. And this is a concern not just for language models, but for any application where RNNs are used to make decisions
Yeah.
that impact people's lives. Imagine a hiring algorithm
Okay.
that favors male candidates over female candidates simply because it was trained on a data set
Right.
that skewed towards male representation in certain roles.
That's a sobering thought. What steps are being taken to address this issue of bias in RNNs?
Researchers are actively working on developing techniques to mitigate bias in AI systems,
Okay.
including RNNs.
Cool.
This involves carefully curating training data
Right?
to ensure it's diverse and representative,
Uh-huh.
using fairness metrics to evaluate models and identify potential biases,
Gotcha.
and even designing new architectures
Okay.
that are less susceptible to bias.
So it sounds like there's a lot of ongoing work to
Oh,
ensure that these systems are fair and equitable. Are there other challenges we need to consider?
another area of concern is the potential for misuse.
Yep.
As RNNs become more sophisticated, they could be
Yeah.
used to create incredibly realistic deepfakes
Right.
or generate harmful propaganda.
Yeah.
We need to be aware of these possibilities and develop safeguards to prevent such misuse.
It's almost like a double-edged sword, isn't it?
hmm
This incredible technology has the potential to do so much good, but it also comes with risks that we need to be prepared for.
Precisely. It highlights the importance of responsible AI development.
Yeah.
We need to be proactive in thinking about the potential consequences of this technology and establishing ethical guidelines for
Fine.
its use.
So it's not just about making RNNs smarter and more powerful, but also about ensuring that they're used in ways that benefit society
Exactly.
and don't cause harm.
That's exactly right. It's a collective responsibility
Yeah.
that involves researchers, developers, policymakers, and society as a whole.
Well, this has been a truly fascinating deep dive.
Yeah.
We've explored the incredible capabilities of RNNs, from understanding language to composing music, but we've also delved into the challenges and ethical considerations that come with such powerful technology.
It's been a pleasure discussing this with you. It's a rapidly evolving field with the potential to reshape our world in profound ways.
So what's the final takeaway for our listeners?
Yeah.
What should they be thinking about as they go about their day interacting with technology that might be powered by RNNs?
I think the key takeaway is this. RNNs are a powerful tool
Yeah.
with the potential to do amazing things, but like any tool,
Right.
they can be used for good or for ill.
Yeah.
As we continue to develop and deploy these systems, it's crucial that we do so responsibly, ethically, and with a focus on the well-being of all.
Well said. A big thank you to our expert for guiding us through this complex and fascinating world. And to you, dear listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of recurrent neural networks.